Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. Today we are going to discuss about the recent decision that has been taken by Government of India to change the amount of windfall tax or percentage of windfall tax on the industries, especially the crude oil and petroleum industry. So we are going to discuss in this particular video that what is the rationale behind the imposition of windfall tax on these industries, and this is not only specific to India but also such kind of imposition of taxes we have seen every now and then all across the world. So first of all, let us try to understand that why this particular issue has come into news. So recently in a press statement, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said, and basically she has defended the decision of the government to impose windfall tax on the domestic crude oil producers. And while saying so, she has said that it is not an ad hoc decision that has been taken by the government or the finance ministry, but this has been done after full concentration and proper deliberation with the whole industry. However, in the next meeting that is going to take place tomorrow, Ms. Sitharaman has also given a hint that government may trim windfall tax on the crude and exports in the meeting tomorrow, and the associated announcement can also be made. So we have to wait and watch and see what the government finally decides about this. At the same time, while defending her earlier position, she explained that the introduction of windfall tax is a way how the government is trying to rein the phenomenal profits that some of the oil producers have undertaken due to the cheap availability of the Russian crude in the Indian market. Not only India, but countries such as UK, Italy, and Germany have either already imposed a windfall profit tax on the supernormal profits of energy companies, or some of these countries are basically contemplating to do or take the same steps. So let us first try to understand what basically is a windfall tax. So as per the definition given by, or explanation we can say, given by the Congressional Research Services, it says that any such kind of profit which is unearned, unanticipated in nature, and it is coming through no additional effort or expense of the company or expense of the industry can be categorized as a windfall gain. And as per the appropriate definition given by the Investopedia, what we can say that any such kind of profits that cannot be attributed to something that the industry or the company or the firm has actively did, like an investment strategy has been made, and this investment strategy might have led to certain kind of this gains or certain kind of profits, or any expansion of business have been taken and that might have led to certain kind of profit and gains. But when these things are not done, but rather the firm is able to make profit without doing anything actively, then such kind of gain on profit can be categorized as windfall profit, and the tax that's levied by the government on such kind of profit is something that is called as windfall tax. The main objective with which government imposes windfall tax is to basically tax these extra profits a company derive from situations that are external in nature. External means that is not within the not under the control of the firm, not under the control of the domestic government, but it is something that occurs due to unprecedented event that take place across the world. This might be a situation of war, or this might be a certain kind of crisis that is developing, or this might also be because of different kind of natural crisis or natural hazards that might lead to disruption in the supply and demand, and can cause increase or significant fluctuation in the prices of raw materials as well as the prices of the finished products. So what is the rationale with which the windfall tax is levied? So three major rationales are given. The first is there is a redistribution of unexpected gains, because the one of the major objective of the government to ensure that the growth and development of the nation is having in an inclusive manner, or is being done in an inclusive manner, and for this the redistribution of the income is one of the most important steps. Second, many schemes are there, social welfare schemes are there that has been launched with the government to take care of the vulnerable classes of India, to take care of the depressed classes of India who are economically depressed or socially depressed, and for funding of such a scheme also this windfall tax can be used. So this is also one method of taking from the rich and giving to the poor, but done in a legal manner. The third objective or rationale of imposing windfall tax is it also acts as a supplementary revenue stream for the government. Especially if we talk about in case of India, we can see that only a handful of people, or handful percentage of people in that case, are paying income tax. And due to this, the actual government has to bear the brunt of shortfall in the revenue every now and then. And that is why this extra revenue that can be generated by windfall tax can be used as a supplementary revenue streams. So these are the three rationale with which windfall tax can be defended. Now the question comes that why government across the world has taken a decision to apply or impose windfall tax now? So three major reasons are there. First of all, across the world, what we are seeing at least from last 5-6 months, due to the development of the crisis in Ukraine, when the Russia waged war over Ukraine, there has been sharp rise in the prices of oil, gas, and coal. And due to the sharp rise in prices of oil, gas, and coal, there has been a kind of mismatch between the actual demand of energy and actual supply of energy. And this is mainly, as we discussed, is because of Russian war in Ukraine, because Russia is one of the largest supplier of oil and gas. And when the Russia was sanctioned due to its action in Ukraine, what basically has happened that a huge quantity or a huge surplus has been built up in the Russia, and they cannot send and they cannot sell their oil, they cannot sell their gas like they used to do in normal times to the Western powers such as US and the European countries. And that is why what they are doing is they are trying to make a nominal profit by selling these cheap oil and gases to the China and India, and apart from that, some other Asian and African countries. So due to this, what has happened? The demand of the this cheap oil have risen up, and due to the excess supply that is being done all across the world, the prices of crude oil and the gas have continuously decreased. Initially, during the war, we have sharp rise in prices, but now we have the significant decline in the prices, especially for the Indian and Chinese consumers. And taking advantage of this, lot of Indian oil companies are there who are taking this Russian crude and then processing it, converting into finished product, and then they are selling this finished product at a much higher prices. That means taking a much higher profit to the consumers outside India. Now, if you look at the extent of windfall profit that the major oil companies have made, we can see the companies such as Shell, ExxonMobil, Total Energies, BP, Chevron, and Saudi Aramco. They have made a total, basically their profit have jumped by almost two and even to some extent by three times. So what has been the global reaction of windfall of these companies? So if we talk about the statement given by Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of United Nations, he has sharply criticized the grotesque greed of big oil and gas companies, that they are making this huge profit and by profiting from this global energy crisis on the back of world's poorest people. And that is why he is defending this windfall tax, and he says that government should actively encourage, actively impose these kind of taxes and then redistribute these taxes to the poorest section of the people who are more vulnerable in nature. Second, if we talk about the paper that has been published by International Monetary Fund, the paper also have clearly given advice that how such tax should be levied and how such tax should be distributed. Not only IMF but also OECD, that is Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, they have also suggested the governments in Europe basically that they should levy windfall taxes on the energy company profit, and thus whatever taxes they are getting, it should be used basically to fund the support programs for those who are most affected by inflation. And taking the recommendation from these statements, the government of India also has decided to impose a windfall tax. The reason is very simple, because many oil companies in India are still importing discounted Russian oil and then they are selling this finished product at much higher prices. However, the major target of this windfall tax is believed to be the two companies. One is the Reliance Industries Limited and other is the Russian oil Rosneft-backed Naira Energy in India. And this is also a way for center to narrow the country's widening trade deficit, and also because the rupees are continuously, the value of rupee vis-a-vis dollar is continuously depreciating, and that is why the trade deficit is expected to rise further in the future. Apart from India, some other European countries that have taken a decision to levy the windfall tax is first of all Germany, where the Chancellor Olaf Scholz has decided to levy a windfall tax, which he also termed as coincidence tax, on electricity companies in order to partly fund a 65 billion euro package, which is a kind of inflation proofing package that he has announced for the citizens of Germany. Inflation proofing package is a we can say a measure that is taken by the government to spend in a such a manner that the effect of inflation on the local or the common citizens can be minimized. The second country is, we can say, is Italy, which also has decided to impose a one-time 25% tax on the energy companies. Then we have Spain, which also have decided to temporarily tax or windfall tax for extraordinary profits earned by electricity utility companies. And even Romania has decided to impose a windfall tax of almost 80% on the additional revenue that is generated by the electricity producers. So what is the issue with the windfall tax? So let us try to understand that what do experts say. As per experts, we can understand that the imposition of windfall tax basically creates a lack of certainty and stability in tax regime. Let us try to understand like this. The imposition of windfall tax is not done in a planned manner. It is a knee-jerk reaction. It is done in a very quick manner, and also its imposition is retroactive in nature. And that is why what happens, the companies or the firms or the investment firms that are trying to invest in a particular country, if they know that the country has this habit of imposing windfall tax, they might be not very certain about the stability in tax regime, and that is why they might be wary of investing in such countries. Second, many experts agree that this is against the concept of capitalism or free market economy, because windfall tax is nothing but an example of populist and politically opportune tax that is imposed for the short term, mainly to give benefit to the government in the eyes of voter. And third is, it basically reduces future investment, because company will have to take into account the possibility of imposition of windfall tax when they are making their decision that whether their investment will be success or failure, or what is the profit they are expected to gain from a particular investment. Not only that, the problem also arises about the ethicality of or ethics of the windfall tax. So first of all, the question is that who should be taxed? Whether it should be the big oil companies or the small oil companies, whether it should be the producer or whether it should be the consumer, or what should be the rationale or what should be the criteria on which the tax can be imposed. Second, also problem is that what exactly constitutes true windfall profits, because companies might have been very well suffered several years of revenue losses. They might have suffered several years of losses in their income stream because of the low prices of crude and such products. And when the companies are trying to gain some extra money by taking advantage of the market scenario, then how can government impose a windfall tax and windfall profits on that? So what exactly constitutes that? Means should we have a certain value of the revenue? That means how much percent of extra revenue can be considered as a falling under the windfall? Third also is the problem of the actual expectation versus the actual observation. So what we can basically see, if you look at all the evidences and examples of the past about windfall tax, the revenue generation for the government from these taxes are significantly lower than what it had been projected. For example, in the time of 1970s, when US was losing its control over the capping the price of oil, that time it is believed that $400 billion extra revenue can be earned by the US government by imposing windfall tax. However, the actual revenue earned was almost 20 to 30% of the expected revenue. So that is why the success of windfall tax and the this basically the objective of windfall tax is defeated in such manner. So this is all about the windfall tax. I hope you understood about the concept and the rationale behind this position, as well as what is the criticism underlying it. That is all for today. Thank you very much.